Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Jazzology presented by Savage Content. I'm your host, Willard Jenkins. We're here alternating Fridays, giving two jazz fans the opportunity to compete against each other for a chance to win $100. Each contestant will be asked a question worth 2 points. If they're unable to answer correctly, their opponent will have the chance to steal the question for 1 point. We will ask 10 questions. And at the end of the 10 questions, the person with the lowest score will get a bonus question for the opportunity to tie the score. If they're successful, the game will go to sudden death. Each contestant will take turns trying to answer the sudden death multiple choice question until we have a winner. The person in the lead at the end of regulation will go first. The contestants will alternate chances to answer the question until one gets it correct. And now it's time to meet this week's contestants. Our latest reigning champion is baritone saxophonist Jason Marshall, who has performed with, among others, the late great Roy Hargrove and the Mingus Big Band. Jason has a recent release out titled New Beginnings. So Jason, what continues to excite you about playing jazz music?
Supporting and furthering the culture, just making sure that the African-American experience is heard and felt, and that our story is attended to.
Thank you. Now today's Jazzology challenger is Mike McGinnis, a multi-reed player and composer about whom Downbeat magazine says is a bold musician who follows the road less traveled. All right. And Mike, what excites you about jazz?
I guess since I was 13 years old, Charlie Parker kind of came through the speaker and hit me on the head with this magic that has continued to pull me to want to, explore that music and grow, and ultimately, understood what these great masters did, understand the information.
All right, so you're uplifted by the masters. Great. In that pursuit. Well, thank you, Mike and Jason. And now let's get to today's Jazzology questions. And as our reigning champion, Jason Marshall goes first.
Okay.
Are you ready, Jason?
I am.
All right. Jason, the South African pianist and composer, once known as Dollar Brand, and now known as Abdullah Ibrahim, was a member of what pioneering South African modern jazz band? Would that have been A, the Blue Notes, B, the Jazz Epistles, C, the African Jazz Pioneers, or D, the Manhattan Brothers, or E, the Brotherhood of Breath?
Ooh. I should know this answer because I played with him. I'm gonna go with the least obvious answer to me would be C. I'm gonna go with C.
C, the African Jazz Pioneers?
Yeah.
Right. That is incorrect. And Mike McGinnis will get a chance to steal the point. Mike, the South African pianist and composer who was once known as Dollar Brand and who is now known as Abdullah Ibrahim, was a member of what pioneering South African modern jazz band? Would that have been A, the Blue Notes, B, the Jazz Epistles, C, the African Jazz Pioneers has been eliminated, D, the Manhattan Brothers, or E, the Brotherhood of Breath?
Well, like Jason, I feel like I should know this answer because I was just listening to Abdullah Ibrahim yesterday, some solo piano stuff. And
okay.
So, but Unfortunately, my only way of picking the answer is just the only name that has some recognition to me, and I don't even know why. So it's like not even like a real answer from my knowledge, but the Jazz Epistles, B.
That is correct.
I don't know where that is in my head.
And as you wrestled with that, there are actually two pioneering modern jazz bands from South Africa. One was the Jazz Epistles, which Abdullah Ibrahim was a member of, as was Hugh Masekela. The other was the Blue Notes with Chris McGregor and those guys. So you are absolutely correct. It was the Jazz Epistles. So you're up next, Mike. You stole that one. You're up next.
Stole it. Okay.
Which of the following piano players has a father who was also an outstanding jazz pianist? Would that be A, Emmett Cohen, B, Gerald Clayton, C, Chucho Valdez, D, Arturo O'Farrell, or E, Jason Moran?
Oh my God, this is so obvious and I should know this, but yeah. Oh, well, I think it's either going to be Gerald Clayton or Arturo O'Farrell.
And which one is it?
Shucks. I'm going to say it's Arturo O'Farrell.
Arturo O'Farrell? That is correct. And there actually were two correct answers to that question. Because you could also have said Chucho Valdez.
Oh, okay.
Chucho Valdez's father, Bebo Valdez.
Bebo, yeah.
You're correct. Arturo O'Farrell is indeed correct. Jason, you're up next. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Jason Marshall, the founder of the DC Jazz Festival, was which of the following people? Was that A, Danny Melnick, B, George Wein, C, Charlie Fishman, D, Tim Jackson, or E, none of the above?
The DC Jazz, because I'm going through all of the festivals I grew playing up, and I'm trying to. There's only one of those names that it could have been, and I'm not even sure if that was. Because now, let me ask this: is it still called was it then, and is it still called the DC Jazz Festival, or had it changed names?
Originally, you're right. It was called the Duke Ellington Jazz Festival originally.
Yeah. Okay. Because the only name that rings a bell, and I'm inclined to say E, but I'm going to say C, Charlie Fishman.
That is correct.
Yeah.
It was indeed Charlie Fishman, who was Dizzy Gillespie's longtime road manager.
Okay.
Yes, so Charlie Fishman was the founder of the DC Jazz Festival. Mike, you're up next, Mike.
You get 4 points for that one.
I should get 4 points because that was a trick question. Wasn't even called DC Jazz Festival at the time.
Right. Mike, when Louis Armstrong left New Orleans as a young man to take a playing job in Chicago, whose band did he go there to join? Was it A, Lionel Hampton, B, Earl Father Hines, C, Lil Hardin, D, Joe King Oliver, or E, Fats Waller?
Well, again, I should know this one exactly like that, but I don't. So I'm going to pick, I guess the most obvious choice would be that he would follow King Oliver to Chicago.
That is correct. When Louis Armstrong left New Orleans as a young man to go to Chicago to join a band, he joined the band of fellow trumpeter Joe King Oliver. And a little trick was in there with letter C, Lil Hardin, because she was actually the first Mrs. Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
She was actually the piano player in that band. But King Oliver was the leader of the band, as you said correctly. Jason, the Art Ensemble of Chicago was founded by saxophonists Roscoe Mitchell and Joseph Jarman, trumpeter Lester Bowie, and whom? Would that have been A, Muhal Richard Abrams, B, Famadou Don Moyer, C, Malachi Favors, D, Anthony Braxton, or E, Leroy Jenkins?
Okay. Tough one. I think Malachi Page is too young. I'm gonna see. I think it was later. Muhal Richard Abrams.
That's incorrect. Muhal Richard Abrams was the founder of the AACM.
Yeah.
But not of the Art Ensemble of Chicago.
Right. Okay.
So Mike, with a chance to steal, the Art Ensemble of Chicago was founded by saxophonist Roscoe Mitchell and Joseph Jarman, trumpeter Lester Bowie, and whom? And A, Muhal Richard Abrams has been eliminated. B, Famadou Don Moyer. C, Malachi Favors. D, Anthony Braxton. Or E, Leroy Jenkins?
Well, I had the same first instinct as Jason, was to say Muhal Richard Abrams, but then I thought maybe I just conflate Art Ensemble and AACM, which obviously they're kind of the same thing. And sometimes it's hard to tell. There's so many names.
Agreed.
Yeah, so this is a trick one. But I think I'm going to deduce that, like, the only one who's, I don't know why Malachi Favors, I think I see his name in the names of the band next to the other people. So I'm going to pick him.
Malachi Favors?
Yeah.
All right. Malachi Favors, letter C. That's correct. That is correct. Don Moyer joined the band later, but he was not a founding member, as was Malachi Favors, the late bassist of the Art Ensemble of Chicago. Jazzology is brought to you by Savage Content, your home for quality music programming. This week, Savage Content would like to spotlight Ain't But a Few of Us. Uh-oh. The latest book from yours truly, Willard Jenkins. Despite the fact that most of jazz major innovators and performers have been African American, the overwhelming majority of jazz journalists, critics, and authors have been and continue to be white men. No major mainstream jazz publication has ever had a black editor or publisher. Ain't But a Few of Us presents over 24 candid dialogues with black jazz critics and journalists, ranging from Greg Tate, Farrah Jasmine Griffin, and Robin D.G. Kelly, Tammy Kernodle, Ron Welburn, and John Murph. And in honor of the upcoming one-year anniversary of Jazzology, Savage Content is offering you a chance to win a copy of Ain't But a Few of Us, signed by me, simply by following the show on social media at Jazzology Trivia Show. That's at Jazzology Trivia Show. And answer the trivia question in the post after the show. And now it's time to ask our contestants our favorite question. As some of you know, Savage Content has hosted 2 video essay contests, asking contestants how they fell in love with jazz. So for each episode of Jazzology, we like to pose that question to our contestants. We'll start with Mike. Mike, how did you fall in love with jazz?
Well, I started playing saxophone when I was 10, and not because of jazz. And then my music teacher said get a Charlie Parker recording, and for whatever reason, hearing him play Moose the Mooch, it was like a virus. It just came into me. When I got home from school that day, I just had to listen to it and learn what it was. And then from that, I just, would buy these books and read about all these incredible musicians. And I was like this, white kid in a very white town in southern Maine, reading about these mostly African-American musicians in New York City in the 40s and 50s. And like really in a strange way, my feeling feeling out of place in my town, I connected with these guys in the music, and it gave me something to strive for. And ultimately, I feel like still Charlie Parker is saying, come to New York and learn what we did. And that's what I've been lucky enough to come and hear all these stories and learn the history firsthand. And that's kind of all I ever wanted, was to know more about this music and be a part of it.
And there's Charlie Parker in the wall right behind you.
Yeah, I got a lot of pictures of Charlie Parker around. You live with me, you have to deal with the reality.
Jason, you answered this question last time, so we'll pose the question a little differently to you this time.
Okay.
What keeps you interested in jazz?
What keeps me interested?
Yes.
What keeps me interested in the music is that it's my opinion that the African American community broadly is still in the midst of our distinguishing historical epic, and music, so-called jazz music, is the sound of it. And so because we're still in it, I'm still inclined to play it, learn it, study it, support it, teach it, all of that.
All right, teach it. Now you have kind of a professorial look about you and your speech, so so keep teaching.
Thank you.
And keep listening to Charlie Parker, Mike. A lot of secrets to reveal there.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Bert.
Right. So Mike, you're up next.
Okay.
Mike, the tenor saxophonist on Horace Silver's classic album, Song for My Father, was whom? Was it A, Wayne Shorter, B, Junior Cook, C, Joe Henderson, D, Stanley Turrentine, or E, Johnny Griffin?
Well, I mean, I could just sing that solo, as I'm sure Jason could too. I think every saxophonist knows the Joe Henderson solo on Song for My Father. That's I don't know. That's it. That's one of the great solos of all time.
All right. You are correct. It was indeed Joe Henderson playing Horace Silver on Song for My Father. And you'd be surprised that Joe Henderson was around for a number of jazz classics. Lee Morgan's The Sidewinder, among them. Many jazz classics Joe Henderson played on. So you are absolutely correct. It was Joe Henderson who played on Song for My Father. And Jason, you're up next.
Okay.
Band leader and vibraphonist Terry Gibbs once employed a young pianist named Alice McLeod, who later became Alice Coltrane after marrying John Coltrane.
Okay.
Terry Gibbs was a master of which instrument? Was it A, the saxophone, B, the trombone, C, the trumpet, D, the drums, or E, the vibes?
E, the vibes.
That's correct, and you had an edge on that one because I did inadvertently say that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of an edge on that one. Apologies, Mike, but you're up next. Drummer and band leader Matt Wilson made a recording inspired by the poetry of which of the following? Was that A, Langston Hughes, B, Edgar Allan Poe, C, William Blake, D. Carl Sandburg, or E. William Butler Yeats?
I guess I should know this, but I don't. But I'm going to guess Carl Sandburg.
That is correct.
Midwestern Matt Wilson.
That's correct. Matt Wilson did indeed make a recording inspired by the poetry of Carl Sandburg. Jason, your turn.
Okay.
Which of the following jazz festivals holds the Guinness World Record as the world's largest jazz festival? Would that be A, the Newport Jazz Festival, B, the North Sea Jazz Festival, C, the Montreal Jazz Festival, D, Umbria Jazz, or E, the Montreux Jazz Festival?
Largest by attendance or largest by square acreage?
It's the largest by both.
Whoa.
I played the big stage at all of them. I couldn't. Newport. Can I ask a question? In what year did they achieve the world record? Because that informs my answer.
I'm not certain what year they achieved that.
The reason here's the reason I asked the question is because I know at least one of them moved locations, which would have meaningfully affected the size and attendance of that festival.
Yeah, the Newport Jazz Festival did years ago, but this was long at this. It was long after the Newport Jazz Festival relocated to New York for a few years.
But the North Sea moved from Den Haag to Rotterdam too.
Right.
Which one's got the record? I mean, but Umbria is also like the whole city is the festival when it happens. The Montreux is huge too. The year was 2004. Okay, got it. Okay. I'm gonna go with the North Sea Jazz Festival, B.
That's incorrect. And Mike with a chance to steal the point. Mike, which of the following jazz festivals holds the Guinness World Record as the world's largest jazz festival? Would that be A, the Newport Jazz Festival? B, North Sea Jazz Festival has been eliminated. C, the Montreal Jazz Festival. D, Umbria Jazz. Or E, the Montreux Jazz Festival?
I really, I don't know, but someone once told me that the Montreal one was the biggest, which is total hearsay, but I'll just go because that's all I got. Make that person.
That is correct. It is the Montreal Jazz Festival, which holds the Guinness World Record as the world's largest jazz festival. Jason.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. It's your turn again. Mike, which of the following festivals is held in Cape May, New Jersey? Is it A, the Exit Zero Jazz Festival, B, the Blue Note Jazz Festival, C, the Caramore Jazz Festival, D, the New Jersey Jazz Festival, or E, none of the above?
I think none of the above.
None of the above? That's incorrect, Mike. Jason, you have an opportunity to steal the point. Which of the following festivals is held in Cape May, New Jersey? Is it A, the Exit Zero Jazz Festival, B, the Blue Note Jazz Festival, C, the Caramore Jazz Festival, D, the New Jersey Jazz Festival, or E, none of the above?
A, Exit Zero Jazz Festival.
That is correct.
It's
Cape May is located at literally located at Exit Zero.
That's odd because it's also called the Cape May Jazz Festival.
It is. It's called both.
Okay.
But, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Exit Zero is the official name of the jazz festival. It was originally called the Cape May
Jazz Festival. Yeah.
And then then several years ago, when it was taken over by a new producer, it became the Exit Zero Jazz Festival.
Yeah, that's a trick. That's a trick question. I got lots of lanyards that say Cape May Jazz Festival. So.
All right, so now Jason, you have a chance to catch up.
Okay.
With the sudden death question.
All right.
Woo.
The sudden death question, Jason, is: there are Blue Note jazz clubs located in which of the following areas? A, Napa Valley, California. B, Tokyo, Japan. C, Osaka, Japan. D, New York City. Or E, all of the above?
So that would be E, all of the above.
That is correct. And you did indeed tie the score, which takes us to sudden death.
Excellent.
The Dakota and Jason, as the reigning champion, you're up first.
Okay.
The Dakota Jazz Club is located where? Is it located in A, St. Paul, Minnesota? B, Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Okay.
C, Bismarck, North Dakota? D, Kansas City, Missouri? Or E, Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Ooh.
Oh. Harsh.
Yeah. E, Minneapolis. Okay.
That is correct. The Dakota is located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that means that Jason Marshall remains our reigning champion. Congratulations to Jason on your win. We encourage each and every one of you to try your hand and play Jazzology. And we are particularly encouraging more women to compete on Jazzology. This program is going almost at a 1-year anniversary, and we've had exactly 2 women who've competed in Jazzology. So we are encouraging women to compete on Jazzology. And if anyone watching would like to become a contestant on Jazzology, click on this link below and simply fill out the form. You must be 18 years old or older, and be sure to follow us on social media at Jazzology Trivia Show. That's one word, at Jazzology Trivia Show, to get all the latest news and updates. Thanks so much to Jason Marshall, Mike McGinnis, and to everyone who joined us for our 26th episode of Jazzology today. Remember, you can check out Jazzology every other Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time And if you missed the show live, you can find the archive on the Savage Content YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.